The last Stranger episode of the year, episode 14, has as of late been delivered. It showed us ruler John successfully returning to his home and confronting Jamie, with William becoming the overwhelming focus, alongside Jane, little Fanny, and Bree taking off from Luke Cameron. It was a more slow episode, basically contrasted with the past quick-moving episodes of Section 2. The justification for that is Diana Gabaldon, who composed this episode. As a Stranger fan, I can constantly tell when she composes an episode, as hers will quite often dial back a little, giving characters some space to breathe. Some might feel like it was a filler episode, however relax episode 15 will wrap things up. Let's break down episode 14 and then look at the trailer for the next episode, which reveals some dangerous stuff. William. I've been enjoying William's scenes in the last few episodes. His anger at the other soldier for calling him a groom was so sad. As you know, Jamie was literally a groom, aka a servant who looked after the horses of William's mother's family. It still shows his clash with his father, being lowborn and a traitor. I also feel like Jane's addition to the story in part 2 has been great. She's rather direct and straightforward, while William is uptight and righteous, which makes their dynamic quite interesting to watch. One thing I didn't understand was how she knew Latin if she ended up in a brothel at the age of 10. Did she already know the language before arriving there? That would imply she came from a very good family. As for a girl to be educated, she would have to be the daughter of a very noble family. But then we have to ask, how did she end up as a prostitute? There's also the possibility that one client took a special interest in her and taught her the language, as otherwise, we know she wouldn't have had the time to take classes. I don't know why I focused so much on this scene, but I guess I'm curious. I would like to hear your opinions on this as well. One more thing about Jane, they focused a lot on her killing that Captain Heartness guy and running away, so I feel like this won't leave them alone, and we'll see the repercussions in the remaining episodes. At the end of the episode, William is now in the hands of American spies. I can't wait to see how he gets out of that situation. Thank God there's someone looking for him. Lord John. Lord John. Lord John, ever the man of duty, faces an inner conflict that will have consequences for both him and his allies. Torn between his loyalty to the Frasers and his duty to the crown, his choices are becoming increasingly difficult to make. His relationship with Jamie has always been complex, brotherly at times, rivalrous at others, but in this episode, we see his true loyalty tested in ways that will affect not only him but everyone around him. Fans have always wondered if Lord John will ever truly break free from his past, and episode 14 might just give us a glimpse of that answer. At the end of the day, I loved how Jamie called William our son and let Lord John go to find him. I feel like William will be the person who brings these two back to a normal friendship, and I can't wait to see that because I don't like them holding a grudge against each other. Claire and Lafayette. It's always one of my favorite parts of Outlander when we see Claire gushing over historical personalities. As someone who read about them in history books, I'm sure many of us imagined ourselves in the same position, at least I know I did. Especially when I saw this guy introducing himself as Lafayette. I always knew him as one of the heroes of the French Revolution, but had forgotten about his involvement in the American Revolution. It was a nice surprise, and it was funny as hell watching Claire eating that jelly eel while everyone around her was having a serious war conversation. Bree. I do feel like Bree's storyline is getting a bit dragged out. Months have passed in the 1778 storyline, but only 2 days in Bree's timeline. At least in the end, she got the idea to go to Roger, which was one of my theories for the remaining episodes. Bree will take the kids and travel back in time. Will they be able to find each other? In which year will they meet? I think if both of them think of the other while going through the stones, they'll meet in some middle ground, which I hope is the year Jamie and Claire are in. What do you say? A whole family reunion in the season 7 finale? I'm down for that. Episode 15 trailer. Let's look at the episode 15 trailer. Well, the trailer opens up with Jamie and Claire on the eve of the battle that's been teased to us for so long, the historical Battle of Monmouth. Jamie, as a general, and Claire, as a doctor, will take part in it. While Claire is having a hard time saying goodbye to her husband, the trailer takes us back 40 years when Roger and Buck are in front of the stones, debating what happened in the previous episode, sending Jerry back to his time. Roger thinks his father was lost in time in 1739, but changed the course of time by sending him back to the 20th century. What Roger doesn't know is that his father was always supposed to go back to his time and die there alongside Roger's mother in the London Underground. But as we discussed last week, Jerry's body was never identified since he didn't have his military ID tags. As you know, he left them in 1739. Roger was just a player who helped the events take place as they were supposed to. People who goes back and forth through time can't steer history, as this show has demonstrated endlessly time once more. Yet, they can assume their part and guarantee everything occurs as it was constantly intended to be. In the interim, Bree is perusing a letter, one of the letters Jamie and Claire sent them. Jamie is in a war zone, looking as smart as could be expected. Claire is having a discussion with Rachel. I'm accepting Rachel will assist Claire with taking care of injured warriors. We likewise see Master John and youthful Ian showing up in the forest where we last saw William and conversing with the men there. This is so invigorating. The following scene shows two men riding a horse. I trust these are Ruler John and William. The fight is really occurring, then, at that point, Zell and Rachel are taking off. It appears as though the American camp is enduring an onslaught, and Claire would rather not leave the injured individuals unattended, which shouts risk to me. Jamie and his men are moving toward the enemy. The British soldiers are right in front of the American camp, where Claire must be. Young Ian is attacking one of the soldiers who captured William. Someone is holding a gemstone. I really think this is Bree. She has decided to time travel and is looking at the gemstone right before she travels. Who do you think this is? Let me know in the comments. More of Lord John and young Ian being badasses trying to save William. Claire is tending to a wounded soldier. It's really not possible to determine who the guy is, but it looks like Percy to me. I might be wrong, we'll see. There are more shots on both sides, then a final look at Jamie and Claire before the battle. Now, I'll give some spoilers for episode 15, especially related to the title of the episode, Written in My Own Heart's Blood. If you don't want to hear them, end the video here. Thanks for watching. If you're curious, stick around. Indeed, this is the name of the 8th book in the Foreigner series. The title is from the most deplorable scene in the book, where Claire is shot in the skirmish of Monmouth and is draining like there's no tomorrow. Maybe you've seen this second in the credits this season. It's likely from that point. Golly, in any event, recounting the story gushes my eyes. I don't have the foggiest idea how in the world Diana could compose it. Thus, Claire is shot and very nearly passing on, and this is when Jamie chooses to resign from being a fighter in the fight. What he does is compose his letter of abdication with Claire's blood and will not walk out on her. Consequently, the title Written in My Own Heart's Blood. I feel like episode 15 will end with Claire having chance, and these painful minutes will happen in episode 16. What do you say? If you have any desire to look further into the fate of the series, look at this video.